Today, we'll delve into a chilling story that happened not so long ago in Florida. The investigation into 33-year-old Joleen Cummings' disappearance surprised even experienced detectives. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new releases. Joleen Cummings lived in Fernandina Beach. She was a mother of 3 going through a divorce from her husband, Jason. Joleen and her children lived in this house in Fernandina Beach while Jason moved to one of the neighboring cities and picked up the children on weekends. Joleen worked as a hairdresser at Tangle's Hair Salon. On Saturday, May 12, 2018, she was at work until 5 p.m. The next day, the U.S. celebrated Mother's Day. Moreover, it was Joleen's 34th birthday. Her 3 children had been with their father the previous days. Jason and Joleen agreed that they would meet on Sunday in the town of Hilliard in the parking lot of the Winn-Dixie supermarket, where Joleen was supposed to pick up the children. As promised, Jason brought the children, but Joleen never arrived. All attempts to contact her by phone were unsuccessful. Joleen's mother, Ann Johnson, who wanted to congratulate her daughter on her birthday, could not reach her either. All calls went straight to voicemail. Soon after, she got a call from Jason, who was trying to find out why Joleen didn't come for the children. After learning that her daughter did not take the children, and started worrying because such behavior was not typical of her daughter. On Monday, May 14, having failed to contact her daughter, Ann Johnson turned to the police with a missing person report. The police immediately launched an investigation. The sheriff's office issued a poster with Joleen's photo and put an APB on her car, a 2006 Ford Expedition. Ann Johnson appealed to the public to help find her daughter. Joleen's disappearance was a heavy blow for Ann, and she begged anyone who had seen or heard anything to report it. On the same day, police and volunteers searched the forest area near Joleen's house, but it did not yield results. The salon where the missing woman worked was closed on Sunday and Monday. The police learned that Joleen was last seen on Saturday, May 12, when leaving work. The salon's owner told the sheriff that Joleen and Jennifer, the second hairdresser, were supposed to work together that day. During the phone call, Jennifer informed her boss that she and Joleen closed the hair salon at 5 p.m., after which they each got into their own cars and drove away. The police established that the last time Joleen used her phone was for an outgoing call while she was still at work on May 12. Nassau County Sheriff Bill Leeper urged everyone who was a customer of Tangle's Salon or was in that area on May 12 to contact the police. Relatives and friends of Joleen didn't believe that she was hiding of her own free will. The owner of the hair salon, where Joleen worked for 6 years, did not think so either. It was hard for them to imagine that she could abandon her children. The police wanted to find at least one clue, so they examined Joleen's personal life. They took a closer look at Jason. After all, spouses often become enemies during the divorce and child custody processes. At the same time, detectives discovered that 5 days before Joleen's disappearance, a woman who lived next door to her called the police, reporting a loud quarrel. As it turned out, Joleen was fighting with her ex-boyfriend, Jason G., and her children were present during the quarrel. He asked Joleen to let him stay with her for a while, but she said no. Enraged, he started destroying everything he saw. The reason for her refusal was that the police were searching for Jason for violating the terms of his parole. By the time the police arrived, the man had managed to escape. Well, at least they thought so. Now, after Joleen vanished, the police considered Jason G. to be a person of interest in her disappearance. The second day of the investigation, May 15, 2018, was rich in events. While searching for possible leads, the police found Jason G. in Joleen's house. He had been hiding there from the day Joleen's neighbor reported a loud quarrel to the police. He was arrested and taken to the police station. During a conversation with detectives, the man said he had nothing to do with Joleen's disappearance. At the same time, the police discovered the first crucial clue. They found Joleen Cummings' SUV parked outside a Home Depot hardware store less than 3 miles from her place of work. The car was not damaged, and there were no signs of a struggle. In addition, May 15th was the first working day after 2 days off at the salon where Joleen worked. At 10 a.m., the police came to talk to Jennifer Sibbert, an employee who was the last one to see Joleen and with whom she allegedly closed the salon together before the weekend. But it turned out that Jennifer did not come to work, telling the boss she had some urgent matter in another city. CCTV footage helped shed light on Joleen's disappearance. The footage captured the moment of Joleen's car driving into the parking lot of a hardware store, where the police subsequently found it. Let me remind you that Jennifer Sibbert said that she and Joleen closed the salon at 5 p.m. on May 12, and this entry was made at 1:17 a.m. on May 13. So, 8 hours and 17 minutes had passed since the salon closed. Sheriff Bill Leeper said the following at a press conference: "We found the CCTV footage that showed Joleen's car parking around 1:17 a.m. on Sunday. The video shows the driver sitting there for a few minutes and then getting out. We had to see Joleen exit the car, but who do you think we saw? The hairdresser from Tangles, the one who was supposedly the last person to see Joleen. Her name is Jennifer Sibbert, leaving Joleen's car. Jennifer went to the gas station across the street. The footage from the gas station shows her going inside. While there, Jennifer bought a bottle of water and asked an employee to call her a taxi, which was established later to have taken her to the salon where she worked. The gas station employee told the police that the woman seemed annoyed. The worker also noticed Jennifer had abrasions on her face, which looked fresh. Thus, Jennifer Sibbert became the main suspect in this case, and the police started to search for her. Checking the address she used when applying for a job, the detectives found out that this address was fake. Sibbert tried to hide, but she couldn't get far. On May 16, 50 meters from the salon, patrol officers noticed a black Kia Soul belonging to Jennifer parked in the recreation area between two trucks. Approaching the car, the officers saw Jennifer sleeping inside. They arrested her and initially charged her with stealing Joleen Cummings's car. When she was taken to the police station, detectives immediately noticed the abrasions on her hands and face and asked her to explain their origin. Jennifer replied that she had been bitten by bedbugs. The police discovered she had no permanent place of residence. The woman mostly slept in her car and used a shower in the fitness center. Soon after her arrest, the investigators discovered something unexpected. As it turned out, Jennifer Sibbert wasn't her real name. Her real name is Kimberly Kessler, born in 1968, and she was reported missing in 2012 in Pennsylvania. Jennifer Marie Sibbert was a 13-year-old girl who died in a car accident in Germany in 1987 and was buried in Butler Cemetery, Pennsylvania. Seated on a couch wearing an orange jumpsuit, Kimberly Kessler casually revealed her real identity 48 hours later in a videotaped interview. "When you run my fingerprints through, they come up as Kimberly Lee Kessler. I am 50 years old, and I've been running for over 25 years, she said. The deeper the police delved into this case, the more details they found about Kimberly Kessler. As it turned out, Kimberly started using other people's names in 1996. She was living in Pennsylvania at the time. Since then, Kessler has used at least 18 identities and lived in 33 cities in 14 states. You can see the list of her names on the screen. I think you've noticed that many of them are similar. At the same time, Kessler took at least half of these names from gravestones and cemeteries and then acquired fake documents for these names. Jennifer Sibbert was one of them. Her mother, Connie Kessler, contacted the police and reported her daughter missing in 2012. However, Connie said she had not heard anything about Kimberly since 2004. It's safe to say the family relationships were not that good if the mother reported her daughter's disappearance only 8 years later. After receiving a report, the Pennsylvania police launched an investigation and concluded that Kimberly Kessler was okay. They decided she just wanted to stay missing. It remains unclear why the police made such a conclusion and whether there was any investigation. After all, as we now know, Kessler lived under a fake name and with forged documents. If the police had found her, they would probably have revealed she had stolen someone else's identity. Questions arise: who or what made Kessler flee? Why did she use so many names? Her mother, Connie Kessler, tried to explain it. According to the woman, her daughter went through many challenges, namely an abusive relationship with a man in 2004. Kimberly gave birth to a son named Evan. When the relationship with the child's father ended, he took Evan and did not allow Kimberly to see him. At some point, he moved to another state and told her their one-year-old son had died. Kimberly was trying to find out if it was true. She wanted to know where the man buried their son. Having received no answers to her questions, she started looking for Evan and tried to find out what happened to him. Connie Kessler believes that her daughter used the names of deceased people to search for her son and hid her real name out of fear of Evan's father. As a reminder, this is Connie Kessler's version, which she voiced on one of the TV channels. When Tim Edwards, Evan's father and the person Connie blamed for Kimberly's problems, saw her statement, he told his version of events that happened many years ago. According to Tim, he was in a relationship with a woman named Melissa McKernan between 1997 and 1999. As we now know, this is one of the names Kessler used. In 1998, Melissa gave birth to their son, whom they named Evan. On the birth certificate, the woman indicated her name as Christina Melissa Brooke, another identity of Kimberly Kessler. She then told Tim she was using other people's names so that her family, including her mother, could not find her. Shortly after Evan was born, the couple broke up. Evan stayed with Melissa, who did not allow Tim to see him. As Tim explained, in 1999, when Evan was about 15 months old, social services took him away from Melissa. Tim does not know why this happened. However, according to rumors, Melissa quarreled with a neighbor who reported her as an unfit parent. The day after the call, Child Services picked up Evan from kindergarten. Trying to get her son back, Melissa went to a meeting with the Child Services representatives and took a gun with her. She was arrested but then released. Tim never saw Melissa again because she ran away from the city. After that, the man received sole custody of his son. According to Tim, he never told her that Evan was dead. After all, he never saw Melissa or heard anything about her after she ran away. When Joleen disappeared, Evan was 20 years old, and he had never seen a photo of his biological mother until FBI officers came to their house in 2018 seeking answers about Kimberly Kessler's past. One of these stories has several inconsistencies. Tim Edwards has a birth certificate stating that Evan was born in 1998. In her interview, Connie Kessler said Kimberly gave birth to Evan in 2004. Thus, one can conclude that Connie Kessler was not fully aware of her daughter's life and that her statement about Tim hiding Evan from his mother may not be accurate. Consequently, Connie's suggestion that her daughter used the identities of dead people to find her son and to remain unnoticed by his father is also hard to believe. As for Kimberly, she could not tell the detectives anything intelligible about why she needed to use so many names. Now let's go back to the Joleen Cummings case. After discovering that Kimberly Kessler lived under fake names, the police charged her with forgery. They found a storage unit that Kessler rented. There, among other things, they found 4 wigs, a bag with 2 cut-off hair tails, and 3 mobile phones. But the most crucial evidence was Joleen Cummings's DNA found on Kessler's sock and shoe. While searching her car, the police found scissors with Joleen's DNA. Here, one should pay attention to these blue plastic containers. They will be important in the future. The search history on the phone seized from Kessler was very revealing. It indicated that what happened to Joleen Cummings was not an accident because Kessler was preparing for it. I remind you that Joleen disappeared on May 12, almost 2 weeks earlier. On April 30, 2018, at 3:36 a.m., Kessler searched for the following query: man with hunting humans DVD charged with murder. After coworker remains were found in the yard, she searched for her coworker, guilty of murder, missing person, body not found. On May 8, at 1:37 a.m., she searched for injecting advice, how to use a tourniquet. On the same day, at 7:13 a.m., she searched Murderpedia, Victimpedia, list of female murderers by country, Florida female murderers, and autopsy. On May 8, at 6:33 p.m., she searched for postmortem changes. The owner of the hair salon drew the attention of the police to the fact that the plant in the pot inside the salon was not the one that stood there before Joleen disappeared. This fact explains the following search queries by Kessler on May 13, the day Joleen didn't pick up the kids. Kessler searched at 12:05 p.m. for indoor palm, and a minute later, at 12:06 p.m., for variation palm tree. The police reviewed the CCTV footage from a hypermarket of household goods a few hundred yards from the hair salon. Kessler arrived there on May 14 at 2:39 p.m. Half an hour later, she left the store with the plant, which eventually ended up in the Tangles hair salon. On May 15 at 6:13 p.m., Kessler searched for Joleen Cummings, I have vanished. On May 16 at 6:27 p.m., she searched no body no crime. When forensic experts used luminol and ultraviolet light in the hair salon, they did not doubt that something terrible had happened there. The room glowed. On May 22, during a press conference, the sheriff said, "We have been able to gather enough evidence that is being withheld in the interest of the investigation, and based on that evidence, unfortunately, we have concluded that Joleen Cummings is dead." Investigators discovered that Joleen told another employee of the Tangles salon that, in her opinion, their new hairdresser, Jennifer, was not who she seemed and was hiding something. This happened about a week before her disappearance. As some salon visitors later stated, the relationship between Joleen and Jennifer was tense. One of them witnessed a quarrel between the women on May 9, 3 days before Joleen disappeared. On June 5, 2018, the Tangles hair salon ceased its activities. Kessler's attorneys had obtained certain evidence withheld from the public. Nevertheless, the information disclosed by the police makes it possible to understand what actually happened to Joleen Cummings. Let's look at some of the CCTV footage taken on May 13, but first, to understand Kessler's movements, let's take a closer look at the building where the salon was and the territory adjacent to it. The salon was here, and there were no surveillance cameras inside or outside. There is a dumpster on the back side of the building. Most importantly, there is a surveillance camera that captures the dumpster. Kessler appeared there at least 4 times. Now let's look at the footage. In the first footage taken on May 13, shortly after midnight, you can see Kessler doing something next to the dumpster. In the following footage taken at 8:08 a.m., she came to throw out a white garbage bag. Judging by the way Kessler lifted the bag, it was pretty heavy. She threw out another white bag 14 minutes later. The fourth footage taken an hour before midnight shows Kessler lifting a waste container to throw out its contents. We can again conclude that there was something heavy inside. The following footage sheds some light on what exactly Kessler threw into the dumpster. This footage is from the Walmart cameras. The video shows how she purchases something at the self-checkout. Her shopping list includes garbage bags, cleaning agents, latex gloves, and, most importantly, an electric knife. This footage influenced the further actions of the police. The investigators found that a company engaged in garbage disposal in that area was taking waste to a landfill in Georgia. In July 2018, almost 200 people searched this landfill for a week. Soon after, the sheriff said that during the search, they found several important clues. However, he did not reveal them in the interests of the investigation. Next to the dumpster into which Kessler threw the white garbage bags, the police found a piece of jewelry, women's shoes, and a blue plastic container. The latter item looked identical to the one found in Kessler's storage unit. It contained Joleen Cummings's DNA. Although unable to find Joleen's body, the police had enough evidence to arrest Kessler for taking the life of Joleen Cummings. On January 17, 2019, Kessler appeared in court for the first time. She pleaded not guilty. The trial dragged on for several years because the judge doubted the woman was sane. She went on a hunger strike. At some point, her weight was less than 88 pounds. Every appearance in court ended up in fits of rage. Before the court session in 2021, Kessler underwent compulsory treatment. In the end, she was found competent to stand trial. On December 9, 2021, the jury found Kimberly Kessler guilty, and on January 27, 2022, she was sentenced to life imprisonment without the right to parole. The prosecutor's office believes that Kessler committed the crime because she feared Joleen would expose her lies. During the press conference, Sheriff Leeper happily said, "We're going to celebrate her new home for the rest of her life, which is going to be Florida State Prison." Tragically, Joleen Cummings's body or remains have never been found.